Well, that's the thing, and that's what's really disappointing that's coming through in what you're saying. And it's not just the transparency or the lack of transparency access, but or point that you made. It's like, even when I tried to play devil's advocate 2 minutes ago, you can cite the sources of the shit they do. It sounds like they don't really want to solve the problem.
I don't think Roblox wants.
Well, it's also, you make a great point that the company should want to sit down with you and should want to be transparent to fix the problem. And that's a mistake on their part.
And they do sit down with other people. But again, it tends to be, with people in the tech world.
It's friendly. Yeah, it doesn't count. I'm saying like with someone like you who's really trying to solve this problem, if I could see outside of you, if I could see from their perspective with some of these class action lawsuits and stuff like that with lawyers, those lawyers are doing their job and they're representing usually families whose kids were victims.
Suffered in one way or another.
Exactly. So I'm not blaming the lawyers or anything like that, but I could see from the company's perspective how it might get like scary to even address it.
I understand that.
You know what I mean?
You also see a pattern of behavior on the part of Roblox where they're trying to hire the spokesman for the, Republican Attorneys General Association. They try to get people in law enforcement to be on their team. They donate money to the Alliance of Attorneys General. They want to be able to say we're the solution here. They're throwing a lot of money around. When they should maybe be throwing a little more awareness around, I think.
Yeah. Now, you talked about it a little bit ago that there's tools they're smart with tech. They can just get around it and stuff. But, that's one of the scariest things about becoming a parent for me is like, it just gets worse every year. All the different resources and tools and places someone can get hurt. And you do, like you said, you got to have some luck as a parent too. You can't put a helmet on your kid and have them go through life that way or be a helicopter. They have to be able to fend for themselves on certain ways.
And they need to learn those skills. I I always look at it this way. Cavemen babies survived and saber-toothed tigers roamed the earth. Civilization was initiated to continue. And, there's a God and most days things go well. But, bad stuff can happen. Kids can get preyed upon on games like Roblox. 84-year-old women can disappear, for no fault of their own. Bad stuff happens out there. And the more we talk about it, but don't live, behind locked gates all the time, you have to go live your life. But you have to be aware of these potential things. And you're right. It gets more challenging every year. My oldest son who's 34 now, when he was in high school, there's World of Warcraft. And you had to be on a computer to do it. Phones weren't that sophisticated and tablets weren't really around then. So you had to sit on the computer and do it in a common area of the house. And when it was bedtime, it was bedtime. Well, I can't. I'm letting the fellas down. Well, who are the fellas? Well, they're my guys playing. Get to bed. End of story.
Right.
Play another day.
Yeah.
There'll be more fellas to play with. But, now, God, it's just overwhelming. And I think it's important for parents not to be overwhelmed by the technology. You limit your children's exposure. You limit the methods that can be used for adults to approach your child. Turn off the chat function. Look over their shoulder. Understand the games. If it's a bathroom game, the kid's not playing it. If the game, where there are games like that have been on Roblox historically, the bathroom game. And
the bathroom game?
Your character walks into a bathroom and sees different things and you go to different levels and it's sexually aggressive. And it's not appropriate for kids, but there was a point where kids had access to that. Now, Roblox has indicated that's tried to shut that down. But, in a platform like that, or in Discord or in a lot of different places, there are dark corners of those platforms where kids can get into trouble.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what's really disappointing that's coming through in what you're saying. And it's not just the transparency or the lack of transparency access, but or point that you made. It's like, even when I tried to play devil's advocate 2 minutes ago, you can cite the sources of the shit they do. It sounds like they don't really want to solve the problem.
Well, I don't think Roblox wants predators harming children on their platform. I don't think so. These people have kids too, right?
But how much do they want to stop it?
But I think in general, anything that limits engagement is bad for business. And so I don't believe they've found the right balance. Now, again, these things that they have done have been helpful. And I'm sure they prevented some engagement between adults and children. But, I mean, maybe I'm asking too much of the company. I don't think I am. And this has been going on for 15 years. So, and the other question is, had we not been barking about this for the last 6-8 months, had these lawsuits not been filed, had these attorneys general not gotten involved, would this have happened? I mean, would they have made the advancements in security that they have made? I would argue no. And again, you're letting a company legislate its own safety.
Yeah. This is also a place where, like, my brain now, I want to look at everything.
How do you think I feel?
Well, I can
up
only,
to my eyeballs.
I can only imagine
for 7-8 months now.
I can only imagine, but like,
I mean, just to try to understand it, and to, thankfully, we've got people who dig into this, who make it their business to be, on the inside of it, and both in law enforcement and in lawmaking. But I had a conversation with the Florida Attorney General, sharp guy.
Who's that?
It's James Uthmeyer.
Okay.
And he's not in the first episode, but he'll be in the second episode. And I did a podcast episode with him too. People can check it out.
Let's make sure we
have
link
a seat with Chris Hansen
down below.
Let's Have a Seat with Chris Hansen and Predators I've Caught. And we have video versions on the Have a Seat with Chris Hansen YouTube channel. But he was very careful in the course of my interview, but indicated that there may be some information that was requested via criminal subpoena, right? You subpoena these things in criminal cases that may have not been properly turned over. Now, he was very careful, so I don't want to overstep into there, but it sounded to me, as somebody who's covered these cases for a very long time, that there could potentially be liability there based upon the Florida Attorney General's investigation. So we'll see how that plays out. That's something to think about.